What's up guys, Asian here with a relatively quick video this time. So those of you guys who have been following the channel know that I'm actually really excited for Elf Bane on MagDKs, assuming they don't change it between now and when the patch goes live on Monday. But a lot of people were wondering whether or not you could use the Perfected Asylum staff build with Elf Bane. And it turns out that you can. I was thinking of using Willpower instead of 3-piece Minor Slayer, but if you're using 3-piece Minor Slayer, you can actually end up making it work, and I will show you guys how to make the build as well as how it compares to your normal 5-5-2 setup with Elf Bane. So the typical setup that you're probably going to see couple of build content creators recommend is going to be a 5-5-2 setup. So it's 5 Elf Bane and then 5 piece of a second set. Probably going to be Siroria or False God, depending on which set is necessary for the fight, which set's better. And then obviously you have Zaan or Grothar, depending on whether you need the single target or the cleave. So this is what you would traditionally see here. So you would see 2 Zaan, 3 Siroria or Perfected False Gods usually. You might see maybe Mother's Sorrow, for example, but Siroria is going to be the best, followed by probably False Gods. And then you have your 5-piece Elf Bane with the chest, legs, and your 3 jewelry pieces. You have a front bar Siroria or Mother Sorrow for False God, whatever set you happen to choose there. And then you obviously have your Maelstrom Inferno staff on the back bar. So this is probably going to be your pretty normal setup here for a MagDK. Now, with the Asylum staff, you run into the issue of you still need to maintain your Elf Bane, so you still have your 5-piece Elf Bane, you still have your Zaan, because there's otherwise no point in running Elf Bane if you're not using Zaan or Grothar. But then you run into the issue of what do you do for your 3-piece. So here we managed to make it work by running Siroria or Perfected False Gods, or if you want to, if you don't have access to False God or Siroria, you can also run Infallible Aether instead. Doesn't really matter which one you get. Siroria gives you the additional spell damage. False God gives you the spell crit, as does Infallible Aether, and all 3 of them do give you the Minor Slayer bonus as the 3-piece. Now, you can't run Willpower with this setup here, and that's because you need to maintain 5 light armor, and willpower only comes in jewelry and weapon. So if you're running 3 willpower jewelry, then all of your body pieces will be Elf Bane, which is a heavy armor set, so you will not be able to get your bonuses from your light armor passives because the most important 2, Concentration and Prodigy, both require 5 or more light armor pieces. So you have to use one of the Minor Slayer light armor sets. Again, it's going to be either Siroria, False God, or Infallible Aether. So, how does this compare to your typical 5-5-2 setup? Here is the DPS numbers I managed to pull on the dummy. So this is the typical 5-5-2 setup here. So Siroria with Elf Bane and Zaan, all about just over 84k. And then here is the Asylum staff setup here. So this is the Asylum with I have the 3-piece Siroria, and then your full Elf Bane, and then 2 Zaan, and as you can see here, this does end up giving me the full 5-piece light armor. So, see here, 82.3k, and this is with Siroria. If I was running something like False God or Infallible Aether, my DPS numbers might change a little bit. I was just kind of testing things out here and there. In reality, probably you're going to want to go with False God or Infallible Aether. Spell crit's going to be a little bit more return than raw spell damage, but I figured I'd try out Siroria regardless. The DPS difference between the 2 should be pretty small. We're talking probably less than 1k or so. So you can see here the Force Pulse build does end up pulling a little bit less DPS, but if you take a look at the resources, it's actually really fantastic. So the main advantage of running the Asylum staff build is you manage to proc Burning more, which procs the Combustion passive, which gives you back Magicka. So you can see here with the green line here with the max Magicka, really no issues at all. I didn't actually cast Balance at all. I did have Balance on my bars here, as you can tell, because I wasn't 100% certain whether I'd be able to sustain it. Turns out I didn't actually need Spell Symmetry back here. So in an actual raid environment, you can replace this with some other ability. Let's say like Consuming Trap or anything like that. Or some additional DPS or maybe a little bit more resource return. Now if we compare it to your typical 5-5-2 setup here and take a look at Max Magic, you can see it's a lot worse in terms of sustain. Now realistically, most fights aren't going to be lasting this long, or if they will last this long, there's usually downtime for you to regain resources. Like Sunspire, while the dragons are flying, you should have some time to build up some more resources back. So basically trading off a little bit of damage for a little bit of sustain here. So I would probably say go with the Asylum build just because sustain is very, very smooth here. I didn't really had to worry at all about magicka at all when I was using the Asylum build. It is a little bit less DPS, but it definitely felt a lot nicer. Didn't have to worry about heavy attacking at all versus the other build where I did have to use balance a few times. I used spell symmetry 9 times during that fight there. So in a group, you might not need spell symmetry. It kind of depends on how much support you're getting, whether you have Hollow Fang, Worm, whether you're getting Symphony and Blade procs, those kind of things. If you are getting good group support, then this build is going to be the way to go. But the Asylum build is actually really nice. It also gives you a little bit of additional group utility because you're pretty much proccing Concussed all the time, so you have that pretty much 100% uptime on Minor Vulnerability that way. So you see from debuffs out, under debuffs, or what would it be under, but you do have some very good concussed uptime here with the Asylum build. But that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys found this informative. Be on the lookout for builds coming up starting on Monday when Herald Storm releases on live. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next dungeon.